Hey everybody, welcome to today's show. Welcome to Fabulous Living with Angela Jones. I am so excited because I'm going to share with you one of my favorite desserts. This is probably one of the desserts that I have made the most in my life because I love it so much. So because Valentine's Day is Sunday and Mardi Gras is Tuesday, I thought it was the perfect opportunity to share with you my favorite dessert, which is cheesecake. I love cheesecake. Love cheesecake. So I thought, why not marry the two, celebrations, Valentine's Day and Mardi Gras, and prepare a no-bake, you're going to love me for that, a no-bake strawberry praline cheesecake. OMG. So good with fresh whipped cream. So we have a lot to cover today. So let's get in to all of this goodness and get down with this cheesecake. So the difference with this cheesecake too is what makes the praline part of the cake is we're going to, instead of doing graham cracker crumbs like you would traditionally do for a cheesecake, we're going to prepare our own praline crust ourselves. No graham crackers involved. This is more of a cookie crust. So good. It makes such a difference in this cheesecake. I don't know if you guys, I was inspired by this recipe by Copeland's restaurant. I don't know, I think Copeland's was just on the East Coast and down in the South, obviously, because it was, a chain that was based out of New Orleans. But they had the best. I can just taste it. It was so incredible. I almost cried when they went out of business because I love their food so much. But they had the best cheesecake, and it was a no-bake cheesecake on a really thick praline crust. It was just really creamy and fluffy, not too rich. It wasn't overly sweet, but you still knew you were eating something really delicious and rich. So that's what this cheesecake is going to be all about today. And one little thing too that I changed to make it a little bit, it wasn't overly sweet, but with all of these things, the praline crust, the cheesecake filling, and then the strawberries on top, and then the whipped cream, that's a lot of sugar. So I've cut down a little bit of the sugar. You guys won't know the difference, but I know the difference because the first time I made it, I was like, it's good, but I was like, no, I don't need anything else to make me any more hyped. So I took down the sugar a little bit. So let's get into it because we have a couple of different steps here. So first off, you want to get a cup of all-purpose flour. Okay, bam. 1 stick of butter melted. Already melted that there. There. Then we're going to take 3/4 cup of chopped pecans. And these are some yummy pecans that my mom shipped me from Alabama because in the South they have the best pecans. So I keep these in my freezer and they keep for a long while too. So I like to have them on hand when I'm baking. So 3/4 cup of pecans. So let's get that butter and that flour whipped up first. And it's going to be, kind of, we want it to be a dough. It's going to definitely form into a nice little dough for us. Then we're going to add the nuts. I'm going to get it all mixed in there. And then we're going to also add 3/4 cup of brown sugar. Yum. There we are. And we're going to get this all heated more than I thought here to get this 3/4 cup going. That should be it. Pack that in there, and now it's perfect. Let's get that all blended in. I should have probably grabbed a bigger bowl. Let me do that so I don't make a mess here. I underestimated. I was like, oh yeah, I don't need such a big bowl. But yeah, there we are. Okay, now I'm going to get that all blended in. And actually, I'm going to start to just blend it all in with my fingers so I can really get it. I want that all mixed throughout. And you want it to be, you want it to form kind of like a, you almost want it to be like sand, you know? Actually, by the time you blend it all together, you'll see that it's like going to end up resembling like the color of sand. And now it's all coming together. And see, for me, I don't know about you, but I like a lot of crust. So this crust is going to be really thick. Not super thick, like not like overly thick, but I'm just saying it's going to be a nice, thick crust. And then all the pecans in there. It's so good, so good. You want to make sure that that butter and everything gets all blended in. You don't want any big chunks, all right, of the butter around. So this is kind of what we should be looking for here. That's the consistency. So let's add it to. Let's add it to our pan. You want to just press it down because it's really going to end up being one giant cookie at the end of the day, which it's almost like it's going to end up being like a pecan sandy or something. So, yeah. I like to kind of get one round of it in, pack it in, and then do a second round to finish everything off. Get everything nicely packed. Yes. Gonna have a beautiful, delicious, buttery praline crust. Ta-da! Yeah, we want it nicely, again, we want it nicely packed down in there. There. So it looks like so. And now I already have my oven preheated to 350. And we're going to put this in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes. We just want it to get a light brown. We don't want this to become like, you know, a really dark brown. Just a light brown because we're going to bake it for a few minutes, take it out, let it cool, and then we're going to add all of that cream cheese deliciousness to it. So we got that going. And then while that is baking, now we can get to the actual cheesecake batter. I'm gonna step away for 1 second and I'm going to grab my cold whisk and my cold mixing bowl. What we're about to do is part of the mixture, or part of the creaminess and the lightness of this cheesecake is that fresh whipped cream goes in it. So we're going to prepare fresh whipped cream, set it aside, and we're going to fold it into the cream cheese mixture. And we're going to also set aside some of the whipped cream that we're going to end up using to dollop on top of the cheesecake when it's done. It would help if I got the whipped cream out of the fridge too. Let me grab that. So I keep this, I had to run back to the fridge because it's important that you keep the bowl, the whisk, and the whipping cream really cold, because that's how your whipped cream is going to form peaks, and that's what you want. If you kept the whipping cream at room temperature, it's not going to whip. So it has to be cold, and everything that you're using needs to be really cold. You can either set everything in the freezer for about 15 minutes, i.e. your whisk and your mixing bowl in the freezer for about 15 minutes, or you can keep I've had mine in the refrigerator for about an hour. So because I had the time to do it, but if you just want to do it really quickly, you can easily just put it in the freezer. And as far as the whipping cream, all right then. You want to make sure that you're either using heavy cream or heavy whipping cream. Either one will do. They both have the same milk fat content, which I think is about like 36%. But you want to use both of those so that they will whip. You don't want to use like just regular whipping cream. You need heavy whipping cream so that you can kind of get the results that you want. So we're going to take 2 cups or a pint of something. Gotta get out of there. 2 cups of whipping cream. And then we're going to take some confectioner sugar. Some people say, granulated sugar is better. Some people prefer confectioner sugar. I like confectioner sugar because it's really smooth. You can probably do either one because you're not making a lot of whipped cream. You know what I mean? But if you're making a large quantity, I would probably go with confectioner sugar, because granulated sugar, if you put so much of it in there, you're going to start to taste the granules. So I say for smoothness sake, just go with confectioner sugar or powder, aka also known as powdered sugar. So I'm just going to take about roughly a tablespoon, and I'm going to start to whip it. Now you have to watch whipped cream, because if you whip it too long, whipped cream will become butter. We don't want butter. We want beautiful whipped cream. So right now I have my KitchenAid on 4, kind of middle way, just to kind of get it started, and then I'll rev it up a little bit. And I'm also going to just keep the sugar on standby to see if I want to add a little bit more. But like I said, since I've been cutting down the sugar content in this recipe, I think that a tablespoon or so may do. May need to add a little bit more. We'll play around with it and see. So the tips here, while this is whipping with whipped cream is, like I said, you don't want to over whip it because it will certainly become butter. That's a no-no. We don't want to do that. But the beauty of whipped cream is that, for me, I will never, I won't say never, but it's rare, very rare, that I'm going to pick up a can or a tub of whipped cream from the grocery store when you can make it yourself so easily. You just saw that it's 2 ingredients. If you want to add vanilla, you can, and that becomes chantilly cream. You can add cinnamon, you can add maple syrup. Maple whipped cream is great like on a pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie or something like that. There's so many different flavors that you can do with the whipped cream, and it's just nice to have on hand. Especially in the wintertime, you want to add a little bit to your top of your hot chocolate, or maybe you're making pancakes and you want to add, some on top of the fruit that you're putting on top of your pancakes. There's so many reasons, as you know, that we can use whipped cream. So it's just nice to have it on hand. So anyway, I just thought I would share that with you. while that is whipping. And remember, we're waiting for it to form stiff peaks, and then we know it's close to being done, and we're probably going to want to stop it. And they're starting to form. You know what? I already know. Since I have 2 cups, let me stop playing games. I'm going to add another tablespoon of sugar, and that should do it, but we'll keep that there. So now that it's starting to form peaks, I'm going to take it all the way up. Yeah, we're almost where we need to be. See, took my eye away for a second. It was almost too much. But see, when you take your whisk, this is what the whipped cream should look like. It should be, see? It shouldn't come off the whisk, but yet it's still nice and fluffy. So that's what we're going for there. Yum! So, you know, let me do the honors here and see what we're going for taste-wise. See where we are. Yeah, good. I could use a little more sugar. Just a little. So I'm not going to deny it a little more sugar. And now so I just wanted to kind of, since I'm adding more sugar after the fact, I'm just going to lightly fold it. I don't want to stir it. I just want to fold the sugar in there. So that was 3 tablespoons total. And that should be sufficient. Like I said, everything else is going to end up being, you know, we don't want this to be overly sweet. So, there. And that's what we're going for. Yum! So I'm going to place this in this bowl and cover it. We're going to reserve some for later. And then remember, we're going to also use some, we're going to fold some into our batter. So we got that all there set aside. And now let's get into making this cheesecake batter. So first up, we have 3 8-ounce packages of cream cheese already softened. Now, I don't like to soften things in the microwave. I let my cream cheese sit out overnight last night. Some people, you know, funny about that, but since it's cold enough in my place and it's winter time, I wouldn't do that in the summertime. I probably would have just taken it out this morning, but I wanted to ensure that it was super soft, so it would be really creamy. So we have it there. Then we're gonna next we're gonna do some granulated sugar this time, okay? Not confectioner sugar, granulated sugar. And we're going to take a cup about a cup and a quarter. So we got a cup. And a quarter. Granulated sugar. And then next, we're going to take a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. Do not use, I'm just not a fan of using imitation. I mean, why are you going to do fake if you don't have to? Yes, pure vanilla costs more, but it's so much better than imitation, trust me. So we're gonna whip this till it's nice and fluffy. I want it to be really, really fluffy because remember, this is not going to be baked. So, I want it to be really fluffy. Yes. And believe it or not, that's everything. I'm just referring to my little notes here to make sure I haven't missed anything for you guys. Got a cream cheese, got a sugar. We added our teaspoon of vanilla. Yeah. We're gonna keep this, we're gonna mix this. Oh, it's coming together really nicely for about 5 minutes. Then we're gonna fold in the cream cheese, the whipped cream. And let's see, ooh, we need to get this cookie dough out of here. That was fast. Our crust is ready. We're gonna let that cool. We don't need the oven for anything else, but that's the finished product for the crust. So we're gonna just sit this here and let that cool. So we're gonna just turn that up a little bit. And really anywhere from like 2 to 5 minutes, depending on your mixer. But I love KitchenAid. It comes together so quickly. So now we're going to, where is, oh, here we are. And I'm gonna pull this up so you guys can see it, but you want the, oh, it's already coming together so nicely. It is so silky and light and fluffy. OMG. It looks really good. Don't mind me, I'm just trying to make sure I get every little bit off of off of the beater. Because we don't want to leave anything behind. You're going to notice I say that a lot because I mean it. And this is the consistency. I mean, look how smooth and silky that batter is. OMG. It looks amazing. And let me just do a quick taste. See if it's where I want it to be. Oh yeah, babe. That's good. Really good. So now what we're going to do, we are now going to take that, I'm going to take half of that whipped cream that we just whipped up and gently fold it, not stir it, fold it, because we want to keep it really light. We want to keep the fluffiness of this cheesecake. Oh my gosh, I could already taste this. It's gonna be so good. Oh my gosh, so good. I love cheesecake. Is one of the first things I learned to bake. I don't know where I got cheesecake from because my mother always made like cream cheese pie, you know, where you take like a prepared graham cracker crust and you fill it with like condensed milk, cream cheese, lemon juice or whatever, and you pour that into the crust, which is very good too. But for some reason, I just decided I wanted to make like real cheesecake. So yeah, I love this. So what we're gonna do, we got that all folded in. We're gonna let the crust completely cool because we're going to be putting this very cold batter onto the crust. So we don't want it to be, we don't want it to melt. So we're going to wait a few minutes, allow this to cool, and then I'll be back as we prepare it for the freezer. Back in a few. Hey, so now that we've gotten our crust cooled, now we're going to add that nice creamy cheesecake mixture to our crust. I'm going to add it to the pan, and then we're going to get that nice and smooth, and then we're going to place it in the freezer for 4 hours. And then we're going to dress it with some fresh strawberries. Ah, so good. So we want to make sure that it's nice and evenly distributed. And then we can just kind of take our little wooden spatula and just kind of smooth it out. Make sure that it's nicely packed in. Oh, this is going to be so good, y'all. And trust me, it's worth the 4-hour wait. It is. I promise you. I promise you. Okay. Now, I feel like that could be just a little smoother. Hold tight, everybody. There. So, now we're just going to take some saran wrap. Oops. Near the end here. Add that to the grocery list. And cover it. And then we're going to place it in the freezer. For 4 hours. And then we'll pull it out. We'll get it decorated. And then we're all set. Back in a few. Hey everybody, welcome back. Just got the cheesecake out of the freezer. Now we're going to remove it from the springform pan. Now this pan is a little different than a typical springform pan because it's heart-shaped and it doesn't, typically springform pans would have the like a clasp on the side that you would just release, and then you still do the same motion of lifting the cheesecake out. Actually, let me not be so presumptuous and think it's just going to slide right out. And pull it through. Uh-oh, let's see here. Here we are. There we go. And I'm going to be careful. This is a little different than doing it with the, there. Oh! Okay, that's okay. All is well. Now typically, we want it a little more solid than this. But in the interest of time, because I'm recording this kind of late, it's not as solid, so we'll run it back in the freezer but I want you guys to get you're gonna get the gist of it. So next, I never told y'all I was a professional. We're gonna make this work. So next, we're going to take some strawberries. I took about a pound of strawberries and I sliced them really thinly. Not super thin, but let me just show you the thickness there. And we're just going to place them around the perimeter, for starters, and then we're going to work our way to the inside. We're going to do this super quickly. And try not to use like the ends. I mean, if you have to, fine, but ideally, we want to have the flat pieces, not the little ends. And there's probably going to be, because this is a smaller cheesecake than I typically bake, there's going to be some left over, but that's okay because got a little leaf in there. We don't want you, little leafy. But I was saying it's okay if there are some left because, trust me, they won't go to waste. Can always, eat them on cereal or make a fruit salad, what have you. They definitely won't go to waste. So we're going to quickly, you'll have to bear with me as I'm figuring out some of this stuff. They make it look so easy on TV. I'm going to turn this around this way. There we are. It's much better. Yeah. And what I should have done is done half of it. And before I started with you guys. But in the interest of time, we're going to fill the entire, we'll do one more round. Oops. We're going to do one more round of the strawberries. And then we're going to stop. I think that'll be enough anyway. And then we can do a little doodad or something in the middle. And then I want to get to the best part, tasting it. Always eating, always hungry. It's ridiculous. It's a problem. All right, guys. Well, you know what? Since this cheesecake is so small, we're just about done. We're going to go in and fill it up. We're going to fill it right on up because it won't take much longer. Thanks for your patience with me, people. I'm telling you, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it in the end. But let me tell you what I also did in the interim. I went on, while the cheesecake was in the freezer, I made a little strawberry sauce to go on top of the strawberries to just add another layer of yumminess and to also continue to dress the cheesecake. There. And all it is strawberries. I'll put it all in the description box in the recipe. But yeah, it's not perfect, but it's pretty. There you have it. It's really pretty. It is, where's my towel? Oh, it is just strawberries lemon juice, and some sugar. 3 ingredients, super simple. And I just boiled, I let the sugar kind of release the juices from the strawberries. And then I added a little lemon juice and brought it to a boil. And then I ran it through the food processor. And then we have this lovely little glaze. And then I can also keep this, like I said, for these strawberries even. Can put them on pancakes this week. Can have like a little, a little topping. It could go great on an ice cream sundae. Lots of uses for it. And trust me, it will get eaten. So I'm just taking a pastry brush. Whoops, let me get out of the shot. Taking a pastry brush, and I'm just dabbing it on. You see how it just makes the strawberries glisten? I mean, the plain strawberries are fine, let's be clear. Let me place that there. But so much better with this glaze on it. I'm just gonna put a little, and I'm gonna put a little extra on there because I kind of really want them to shine, but I also want this to also serve as like a, when you go to a restaurant and you get like cheesecake and it has the strawberry sauce or raspberry sauce with it, and it's just nice to have a little extra. I always ask for extra because I'm extra. But that is, I think that will just run through again. There. Wonderful. Just to make sure everything is covered. And remember, I told you we would have that whipped cream that we had left, that we made the extra of. That's why we made extra, so that we're going to have it right here for the end. Now this is kind of weird because, well, because it's not round. I'm like, how am I going to cut this thing? But I will figure it out. Like I said, it didn't set as long, but like I said, it's getting late here, and I'm not a night person. So, but you're gonna get the full effect though. OMG, I can hear that crunch of that cookie. Woo! And like I said, it's not supposed to be like traditional cheesecake. It's super creamy. You're gonna see that. OMG. That looks so good. Uh-oh, I lost some of my crust in there. I gotta go back in and get that. Hold on, y'all. Okay, there we go. I got it. And I should have grabbed a server. Yes. I'm going to dump that on there too. Oh my gosh. This looks incredible. I'm going to take a dollop of that fresh whipped cream. OMG. Oh, I already grabbed a fork. I'm so anxious. Let me calm myself down here. See, because I didn't, I'm just going to keep it real. Like I said, it's getting late here, but that cookie crust is there at the bottom that I really wanted you guys to see, but we're not going to worry about aesthetics. We're just going to enjoy it. Now remember, it was frozen, so the crust is going to, that's why I took a little bit to get it in there, but I want you to see, like, you can see that cookie crust, that praline crust. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. With the whipped cream. Perfection. It is so good. It's so light and it's refreshing almost, as opposed to when you don't think of refreshing when you eat cheesecake, but because it's so light, because it wasn't baked, it's very light and fluffy. And then you have the crunch. I just love the contrast and the textures, and then you have the crunch from the praline crust. And then of course you have the fresh fruit, which is refreshing. Oh my gosh. And then the strawberries. Delicious. So, I don't know about you, but I'm getting ready to take my makeup off, put my feet up, enjoy this cheesecake that I don't need at this hour of the day, but it's okay. I hope, pardon me, you try this recipe. I think, make it for your honey, make it for your mama. Whoever it is that you love that loves cheesecake will enjoy this. It's really good. Really, really good. So, that's all, folks. I will see you next time. Ciao.